You know what shocked me most about researching Golden Age Hollywood? It wasn't the scandals or the studio system. It was discovering how genuinely kind some of our biggest stars really were. While today's celebrities often disappoint us, these legends from the 1930s and 40s were actually living up to their heroic screen personas behind the scenes. Hollywood performers today often come across as self-centered and difficult, but that wasn't always the story. Many classic stars from Hollywood's golden era weren't just talented, they were genuinely decent people. Unlike the characters the press created, they were truly compassionate and kind-hearted individuals. Here are 21 actors from old Hollywood who earned their reputation for niceness, not from publicity machines, but from real people who knew them. Before we dive in, tell us about the kindest Hollywood performer you've ever encountered. Cary Grant. Cary Grant's reputation as one of Hollywood's most gracious gentlemen extended far beyond his sophisticated screen image. What few people realized was that beneath Grant's polished exterior lay the emotional scars of childhood abandonment. At age 9, he was told his mother had passed away, only to discover 2 decades later that his father had committed her to a mental institution. This early trauma gave him extraordinary empathy for others experiencing hidden pain. Unlike many stars who maintained strict hierarchies on set, Grant made genuine efforts to connect with technicians behind the scenes, asking about their families and showing real interest in their lives. He often brought small gifts or treats to brighten long shooting days. Colleagues remembered him calmly resolving disputes and offering quiet encouragement to younger actors overwhelmed by the spotlight. During filming of Bringing Up Baby, 1938, Katharine Hepburn was struggling with the comedy timing and facing criticism. When she was near tears after multiple failed takes, Grant privately told the director he'd forgotten his lines and needed to rehearse more, taking the blame to give Hepburn time to compose herself. For instance, when a nervous newcomer struggled with a scene, Grant took time to rehearse privately with them until they felt comfortable. Beyond the studio, Grant was known to write thoughtful notes to friends and fans. Even after retiring from acting, Grant personally answered selected fan mail, sometimes including small checks when letters revealed financial hardship, always requesting recipients not publicize his generosity. When approached in public, he rarely turned down an autograph, request, or photograph, taking time to converse with admirers rather than rushing away. During World War II, he donated his entire salary from the Philadelphia Story to the British War Relief Society and performed countless benefit shows, explaining, "I've never forgotten I was born British before becoming American." According to neighbors, he welcomed community members into his home during local charity drives. Many people who worked with him remarked that his impeccable manners and grace under pressure made him a joy to be around. James Stewart. James Stewart was beloved in Hollywood not just for his everyman screen presence, but for his genuine humility and decency in everyday life. Known as Jimmy to friends and colleagues, he famously treated everyone on set, from fellow leads to bit players and technicians, with identical kindness and respect. In interviews and memoirs, co-workers often commented on his politeness, sense of duty, and the authenticity he brought to both his craft and personal interactions. Beyond his professional behavior, Stewart was deeply committed to his community and charitable causes. He frequently volunteered his time and resources to support veterans, reflecting his own service as a World War II pilot. This dedication was intensely personal. Stewart enlisted in the U.S. Army Air Corps in March 1941 as a private before Pearl Harbor. Despite being 33 years old and already a major star who could have easily avoided service, he rose from private to colonel in just 4 years and flew 20 combat missions over Nazi Germany, earning the Distinguished Flying Cross twice for exceptional bravery. Stewart was also known for his quiet generosity, often donating anonymously to those in need and ensuring that everyone around him felt valued and appreciated. When Gloria Stewart, his wife of 45 years, was diagnosed with breast cancer, he became a passionate advocate for cancer research, making substantial contributions to medical institutions while maintaining his characteristic humility about his efforts. His approachable nature made him a favorite among aspiring actors who sought his mentorship and guidance. Whether he was sharing a laugh during breaks or offering encouragement during challenging scenes, James Stewart consistently exemplified the true meaning of kindness and integrity, leaving a lasting legacy of warmth and respect in Hollywood. Audrey Hepburn. Although best known for her acting, Audrey Hepburn embodied a gentle, caring spirit long after the camera stopped rolling. She was admired by colleagues for her grace, warmth, and good manners off-screen. Hepburn's compassion was rooted in her own harrowing childhood experiences during World War II in Nazi-occupied Netherlands, where she suffered malnutrition and witnessed executions. She later confessed, "If you lived through the occupation, as I did, you emerged with an absolute horror of violence and a passionate determination never to inflict suffering on another human being." She dedicated a significant part of her later life to humanitarian work with UNICEF, traveling to impoverished regions and advocating for children's welfare. Despite battling cancer in her final years, she insisted on completing one last UNICEF mission to Somalia in 1992, telling her son, "I can't bear the thought of all those children when they could be saved." Those who knew her said that what people saw on screen, her elegance, compassion, and kindness, was a true reflection of who she was in real life. Audrey's kindness extended beyond her professional endeavors. She was known for her personal acts of generosity, often taking time to listen and offer support to those around her. On film sets, she fostered a collaborative and uplifting environment, encouraging fellow actors and crew members alike. Her humility was evident in her interactions. Despite her immense fame, she treated everyone with the same level of respect and warmth. When filming The Unforgiven in Durango, Mexico, the crew was shocked when Hepburn personally nursed young local children suffering from illness, applying cool compresses and sitting with them for hours after discovering their families had no access to medical care. One memorable instance involved Audrey personally assisting a young co-star struggling with lines, patiently guiding them until they felt confident. Additionally, her commitment to UNICEF saw her visiting some of the world's most vulnerable children, bringing attention and resources to their needs with unwavering dedication. She famously refused to have her own dressing room on set, saying, "I'd rather the money be spent on the film," and would often be found sharing lunch with electricians and camera operators rather than retreating to private quarters. Audrey Hepburn's legacy is defined not only by her iconic roles, but also by her enduring kindness and humanitarian spirit, which continued to inspire generations. Gregory Peck. Gregory Peck's reputation as one of the industry's true gentlemen is near legendary. He became a symbol of moral integrity, both because of the noble characters he portrayed on screen, like Atticus Finch in To Kill a Mockingbird, and because of his off-screen persona, which was anchored in dignity and empathy. What few know is that Peck's compassion was shaped by early tragedy. He was just 5 years old when his parents divorced, and his mother's subsequent illness forced him to be raised by his grandmother. This early experience of family disruption gave him unusual empathy for children in similar situations. Peck was known for reaching out to younger actors, treating crew with courtesy, and volunteering for various humanitarian causes. People who worked with him often recalled how he set an example of grace under pressure, generosity with his time, and unwavering kindness. Peck's dedication to civil rights went far beyond mere words. When filming To Kill a Mockingbird, he insisted on meeting with local black community leaders in the segregated Alabama town, where they shot some scenes, defying local customs by eating together at a time when such fraternization was socially forbidden. Much like James Stewart, Peck embodied the everyman's integrity and humility, creating a bridge between star power and genuine personal warmth. Both actors shared a commitment to treating everyone with respect, regardless of their role in a production. Peck's involvement in civil rights movements and his advocacy for peace demonstrated his deep-seated values, mirroring Stewart's dedication to supporting veterans and community causes. Additionally, Peck frequently took time to mentor aspiring actors, much like Stewart did, fostering a supportive and nurturing environment on set. When filming on location in rural areas, Peck made a point of patronizing local businesses rather than having meals catered, explaining that he believed in supporting communities that welcomed film productions. Their mutual dedication to kindness and integrity not only enhanced their legendary statuses, but also left enduring legacies of compassion and respect in Hollywood. Through their actions, both on and off the screen, Gregory Peck and James Stewart set a high standard for what it means to be truly nice in the often cutthroat world of show business. Bob Hope. Few entertainers in American history have demonstrated the combination of talent, patriotism, and extraordinary compassion that defined Bob Hope's remarkable career. While audiences knew Hope for his wisecracks and perfect comedic timing, what drove him was a profound empathy, born from his own humble beginnings. Born Leslie Hope in England, he immigrated to America as a child, experiencing poverty so severe that he sometimes had to sleep in streetcars and eat at charity kitchens, experiences that gave him lifelong compassion for those suffering hardship. For nearly 50 years, Hope sacrificed countless holidays away from his own family to bring laughter and a taste of home to American troops stationed in remote outposts, dangerous battle zones, and isolated ships at sea. His legendary USO tours spanned from World War II through Desert Shield, often placing him in genuine danger, including close calls with enemy fire that were sometimes captured on television broadcasts of his shows. Hope's dedication to service members went far beyond staged performances. Hope had an extraordinary photographic memory that allowed him to memorize the names of individual soldiers he met, incorporating personal details about specific units and bases into his monologues. This personalized approach made troops feel truly seen during their most difficult moments. Between shows, he would spend hours visiting military hospitals, sitting quietly at the bedsides of wounded soldiers who couldn't attend the main events. One nurse recalled finding Hope at 2 a.m. in a field hospital tent in Vietnam, long after cameras stopped rolling, reading letters from home to a blinded Marine whose injuries made it impossible for him to read them himself. Beyond these public acts of kindness, Hope maintained decades-long correspondence with hundreds of service members he'd met during tours, sending birthday cards, responding to their letters, and in some cases, quietly helping veterans find employment after their service ended. The emotional impact of Hope's work cannot be overstated. During his Vietnam shows, military officials noted measurable decreases in combat stress incidents in the weeks following his visits. One veteran recalled, "That visit really made the difference in our deployment. That got us through the next 4-5 months. He brought such enthusiasm, brought your life back to you. You felt like you were renewed." His daughter Linda observed that witnessing troops' hardships profoundly affected her father. "I think one can't be near that in large doses and not be touched. It was always something he felt compelled to do." Even into his late 80s, when most performers would have long retired, Hope undertook the physically demanding tour to entertain troops during Operation Desert Shield in 1990, adapting his performances to strict Saudi Arabian cultural and religious requirements. His commitment to bringing joy to those serving their country, often at great personal sacrifice, made Bob Hope not just a legendary entertainer, but a true embodiment of kindness and compassion. Fred Astaire. Fred Astaire was widely recognized for his perfectionism on the dance floor, but he was also known for his courteous, considerate demeanor off-set. Despite his fame, Astaire carried emotional scars from his early vaudeville days when theater managers often treated performers poorly. This experience led him to establish a personal policy of arriving first on set and thanking every crew member individually at day's end. Despite his superstar status, Astaire consistently showed kindness toward fellow performers and crew members. He appreciated the work that went into lighting, costuming, and set design, and treated everyone involved in a production as essential contributors, never talking down to anyone. Even in his 70s, when most stars might demand special treatment, Astaire would refuse to sit while camera setups changed if it meant stagehands remained standing, explaining quietly, "They're working harder than I am." His quiet modesty, combined with respect for the craft and those who practiced it, earned him a reputation as a consummate gentleman. Fred's kindness was evident in numerous behind-the-scenes stories on the set of Holiday Inn. He took time to personally thank the lighting technicians and costume designers, often stopping to chat and learn about their roles. He believed that every detail contributed to the magic of the performance, and he made sure everyone felt valued. When a dancer in the chorus suffered an ankle injury during rehearsals for the Barclays of Broadway, Astaire anonymously covered her medical expenses and arranged for her to have a small speaking part so she could remain employed while recovering. Colleagues recalled how Astaire would patiently teach younger dancers, offering gentle corrections and encouragement without ever making them feel inadequate. Off the set, Fred was known for his philanthropic efforts. He frequently supported charities quietly, preferring to let his actions speak for themselves. During World War II, he regularly performed at military hospitals, often spending hours after official appearances, sitting beside wounded soldiers' beds, listening to their stories when they were too injured to join the main show. One notable instance was when he organized a surprise celebration for the crew after a long, grueling shoot, providing homemade treats and heartfelt thanks for their hard work. His genuine appreciation and humble nature made him beloved by all who worked with him. Dean Martin. Dean Martin, famously known as the charming crooner and a staple of the Rat Pack, often portrayed a carefree, easygoing persona both on and off the screen. What fans didn't see was Martin's private dedication to family. Despite his celebrity lifestyle image, he insisted on being home for dinner with his children nearly every night, often leaving events early with his famous line, "It's Frank's world, I just live in it," referring to Sinatra's late-night habits. Contrary to the playful image of indulging in endless parties and late-night revelries, many who knew Martin personally attest to his genuine kindness, discipline, and intelligence. A poignant example shared on Reddit highlights this very aspect of his character. Contrary to popular belief, Martin was never intoxicated. Instead, he maintained a disciplined lifestyle, balancing his indulgent public image with personal sobriety and sharp business acumen. His intelligence was evident in his successful ventures beyond singing and acting, including his ownership of a popular nightclub, the Dean Martin Summer Villa in Palm Springs, which became a haven for friends and fellow entertainers. Colleagues and friends often recalled Martin's generosity and supportive nature. When fellow performer Sammy Davis Jr. faced racial discrimination at hotels and venues, Martin refused to perform unless Davis received equal treatment, using his star power to break down segregation barriers in Las Vegas establishments. He was known to go out of his way to help emerging artists, offering mentorship and opportunities without seeking anything in return. For instance, during the filming of Rio Bravo, Martin took time to encourage and guide younger actors, fostering a collaborative and uplifting environment on set. After learning that a stagehand was struggling financially due to his child's medical condition, Martin anonymously paid the family's medical bills and arranged for the best specialists to treat the child, never revealing himself as the benefactor. Additionally, his philanthropic efforts were notable. Martin quietly contributed to various charities, particularly those supporting veterans and children, without seeking public recognition. Following the loss of his son, Dean Paul Martin, in a 1987 military plane accident, he established a scholarship fund for aspiring pilots from underprivileged backgrounds, turning his personal tragedy into opportunity for others. Offstage, Dean Martin was beloved for his ability to balance humor with heartfelt sincerity. Friends described him as a dependable and empathetic confidant, always ready to lend an ear or offer advice. His calm demeanor and thoughtful presence made him a stabilizing force within the often tumultuous entertainment industry. Whether hosting his legendary television variety show or enjoying intimate gatherings with friends, Martin exuded a warmth and approachability that endeared him to many. Jack Lemmon. Jack Lemmon's easygoing charm wasn't just a cinematic facade, it was genuinely who he was. What many colleagues found remarkable was how Lemmon maintained his kindness despite a difficult childhood with an alcoholic father and his own later struggles with alcohol, which he eventually overcame. Rather than becoming bitter, these experiences gave him profound compassion for others battling personal challenges. Known for his approachability, he often bridged the gap between stars and crew with humor and understanding. When new actors joined a production, Lemmon would introduce himself, shake their hands, and make them feel part of the team from day one. He would stay behind after his own takes to watch their scenes, offering constructive pointers or just supportive smiles. An often cited example of his kindness is how he treated assistants, drivers, and extras not as anonymous staff, but as collaborators. During the filming of Some Like It Hot in 1959, when the cast was suffering in the heat while wearing heavy costumes, Lemmon arranged for an ice cream truck to visit the set daily, paying for treats for the entire cast and crew. He remembered personal details they shared and followed up in later conversations. This attentiveness won him lasting loyalty and admiration. Off the set, Lemon was similarly generous. After his The Odd Couple co-star, Walter Matthau, suffered a heart attack, Lemon visited the hospital daily, often reading scripts aloud to entertain him. He later insisted that production schedules be adjusted to accommodate Matthau's recovery, telling studios, "The movie can wait, friendship can't." He quietly supported numerous charities, including those focused on alcohol abuse recovery, relating personally to those struggles. On more than one occasion, he visited hospital wards to cheer up young patients, and he frequently participated in charity golf tournaments. Despite achieving massive success, Lemon never forgot his early struggling years and made a practice of reading unsolicited scripts from unknown writers, personally responding with encouragement, and occasionally helping talented newcomers make industry connections. His Hollywood peers often said that Lemon's laughter was contagious. When tensions ran high on set, his gentle teasing or a good-natured anecdote could dissolve anxiety. Ultimately, his kindness defined him as much as his talent did. Danny Kaye. Danny Kaye was not just a talented comedian and performer. He was also a warm and generous person who loved to make people happy. What many fans don't realize is that Kaye's extraordinary talent for languages. He could mimic any accent and created his famous double talk routines, stemmed from growing up in a multilingual Brooklyn immigrant neighborhood where he learned to connect with people across cultural barriers through humor and kindness. Danny enjoyed entertaining others and always had a smile on his face. He loved to make people laugh with his funny jokes and playful antics on set. Everyone loved being around him because he was so delightful. He could lift anyone's spirits with his humor and kindness. Danny put a lot of effort into charity work. His commitment to children's causes wasn't just professional. It stemmed from personal tragedy. Kaye and his wife, Sylvia Fine, suffered multiple miscarriages before adopting their only daughter, Dana, which fueled his passionate advocacy for children's welfare. He was a strong supporter of UNICEF, helping children in need around the world. In 1954, he became the first UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador, and despite his fear of flying, he traveled over 250,000 miles annually visiting children in poverty-stricken areas, often performing impromptu shows using only his hands and facial expressions to overcome language barriers. He believed in giving back and used his fame to support good causes. People who worked with him said he was always eager to help, whether it was helping a co-star or assisting the crew. Danny was always there with a kind word or a helping hand. When a carpenter on the set of White Christmas mentioned his daughter was hospitalized, Kaye quietly visited the child in costume, performing a private show for the entire pediatric ward without publicity or photographers. One time, Danny organized a fun event to raise money for children. He worked hard to make sure everyone had a good time while supporting a great cause. His colleagues remembered how he could turn a tough day into a happy one with his jokes and positive attitude. He once conducted the New York Philharmonic Orchestra, despite not being able to read music, raising substantial funds for musicians' pensions, but insisted the achievement was due to the musicians' generosity rather than his own talents. Danny Kaye's warmth and generosity made him a beloved figure in Hollywood. He showed that being nice and caring was just as important as being funny and talented. Carole Lombard. Carole Lombard was renowned not only for her sparkling comedic talent on the screen, but also for her generous, down-to-earth nature behind the scenes. Despite her glamorous image, Lombard's early life was marked by hardship. At age 12, she was severely injured in a car accident that slashed her face, requiring painful surgery and threatening to end her film career before it began. This experience gave her profound empathy for others facing physical and emotional challenges. She frequently engaged in light-hearted banter with crew members, remembering their names and checking in on their well-being. One well-known incident involved Lombard bringing a case of oranges onto the set for the entire crew simply because she heard they were feeling run down. Her humor, often self-deprecating, created a comfortable environment. She was known to break tensions by pulling gentle pranks, but never mean-spirited ones. Lombard's kindness extended beyond the studio. When her friend and hairdresser, Irene Ellis, became too ill to work, Lombard continued paying her full salary and medical expenses for over a year, visiting her regularly and bringing her children Christmas gifts. When World War II broke out, She was an early participant in bond drives. Her final act was a supreme patriotic sacrifice. In January 1942, despite being offered more convenient transportation, she insisted on taking a commercial flight back from a war bond rally in Indianapolis to return to work faster. The plane crashed into a mountain, ending her life at age 33. Her bond rally had raised over $2 million, equivalent to over $35 million today, for the war effort. She traveled tirelessly, giving heartfelt speeches that inspired ordinary citizens to contribute. In many cases, she went out of her way to greet and thank volunteers individually. Even as a top-tier star, Lombard did not demand special treatment. Instead, she championed fair work practices and supported fellow actresses who struggled to gain equitable contracts. When the studio wanted to replace an actress who had become pregnant, Lombard threatened to walk off the set unless the woman was allowed to complete filming, arguing that motherhood shouldn't end careers. Friends and colleagues described her as the kind of person who would lend money quietly to someone in need without expecting anything in return. Her radiant personality truly touched those around her. Mary Pickford, one of the earliest superstars of Hollywood, Mary Pickford was often called America's sweetheart. Beyond her angelic on-screen image, she was known for her generosity toward colleagues and underprivileged communities. Few realized that Pickford's commitment to helping others stemmed from her own impoverished childhood. She began performing at age 7 to support her family after her alcoholic father's passing left them destitute. She never forgot those early struggles. Pickford co-founded United Artists to give actors more control and ensure fairer treatment. She was a philanthropist who donated time and money, and she greeted fans and co-workers with warmth and appreciation. Mary's kindness extended deeply into her professional and personal life. By co-founding United Artists with Charlie Chaplin, Douglas Fairbanks, and D.W. Griffith on February 5, 1919, she revolutionized the film industry, allowing actors to have more creative and financial control over their work. This move not only benefited her peers, but also set a precedent for future generations of actors seeking autonomy in their careers. Despite her reputation for shrewd business acumen, Pickford repeatedly rescued actors from financial ruin. When silent film star Mae Murray lost everything in the 1929 crash, Pickford quietly provided her with a home on her estate and a monthly stipend, insisting to staff that Murray was a permanent house guest rather than a charity case to preserve her dignity. Pickford was also dedicated to charitable causes. She supported numerous hospitals and orphanages, often contributing anonymously to avoid the spotlight. On set, Mary was beloved for her approachable nature and willingness to help others. She took time to mentor young actresses, offering guidance and encouragement to help them navigate the challenges of the industry. During the Spanish flu pandemic of 1918, Pickford converted part of her mansion into a temporary hospital and personally helped care for sick film workers when local facilities were overwhelmed. Her genuine interest in others made everyone feel valued, from leading actors to the smallest crew members. Mary was also known for her delightful interactions with fans, always taking time to sign autographs, pose for pictures, and engage in heartfelt conversations, making each person feel special. Outside of Hollywood, Pickford maintained strong ties to her community. She actively participated in fundraising events and used her influence to support social causes, demonstrating her unwavering commitment to making a positive impact. Her legacy of kindness, generosity, and empowerment continues to inspire both within and beyond the entertainment world. Irene Dunn. Irene Dunn's warm, gracious demeanor earned her the nickname the First Lady of Hollywood from director Leo McCarey, who said she was the first real lady Hollywood has ever seen. What few realized was how deeply her Catholic faith informed her kindness. She attended Mass daily throughout her life, but never imposed her beliefs on others, explaining, "True religion should make you more understanding of others, not more judgmental." While she never courted scandal or headlines, insiders consistently praised her poised kindness and gentle sense of humor. On set, Dunn maintained a calm presence that helped keep productions running smoothly. Crew members recalled that if tempers flared or complications arose, Dunn often stepped in with a soothing word or a friendly smile, diffusing tension almost effortlessly. She treated everyone, be it a distinguished director or a new grip, with the same level of respect. Off the set, Dunn was known for her discretion and generosity. Though she was devout in her faith, she never imposed it on others, instead using it as a personal compass, guiding her compassion. After adopting her daughter, Mary Frances, at age 42, after years of failed attempts to have biological children, Dunn became a fierce advocate for adoption, personally helping dozens of childless couples navigate the process and quietly funding an orphanage in Los Angeles. She quietly contributed to charitable causes, often providing financial assistance to struggling individuals within the industry. During McCarthy-era Hollywood, when many actors faced blacklisting, Dunn anonymously paid rent and groceries for several families, regardless of their political affiliation, stating privately, "Politics shouldn't determine whether children eat." Dunn also mentored younger actresses, offering measured advice rather than idle flattery. One anecdote describes her inviting an anxious newcomer to her dressing room for tea and encouragement before a difficult shoot. Despite being nominated for 5 Academy Awards without winning, Dunn never displayed bitterness, instead hosting celebration parties for those who beat her, telling friends, "There's more joy in celebrating others' success than mourning your own disappointment." Over time, her unwavering kindness and lack of vanity solidified her reputation as one of Hollywood's true ladies. David Niven. David Niven was beloved for the same qualities that made his on-screen persona so appealing: wit, charm, and a gentlemanly approach to life. Behind his light-hearted demeanor lay profound personal tragedy. His first wife passed away in a freak accident at a party, falling downstairs while playing hide-and-seek. Despite this devastating loss, Niven maintained his kind, generous spirit, later saying, "You can either be destroyed by grief or learn that kindness is the only antidote to pain." Behind the scenes, colleagues described him as effortlessly gracious, with a talent for making people feel welcome in his presence. While working on film sets, Niven greeted everyone cheerfully each morning, never showing impatience with delays or technical issues. When a young actor or an inexperienced crew member made mistakes, Niven responded with gentle humor or quiet advice instead of criticism. Real-life anecdotes illustrate his kindness. During World War II, Niven left his successful Hollywood career to return to England and rejoin his old regiment, serving with distinction as a commando officer. Unlike many celebrity servicemen who received safe assignments, he insisted on frontline duty and rarely mentioned his film career to fellow soldiers. During the filming of Around the World in 80 Days, he reportedly organized small gatherings to help cast and crew relax after long shoots. Niven also wrote thoughtful letters of thanks to people who assisted him during his career, from studio heads to lesser-known technicians. When a young set decorator nervously spilled coffee on Niven's costume just before an important scene, instead of reprimanding her, he pretended he'd done it himself, saying loudly, "How clumsy of me," to spare her embarrassment. Off-set, he frequently opened his home to friends, hosting relaxed dinner parties where old Hollywood stars mingled happily with newcomers. In his later years, while battling the neurodegenerative condition ALS that would eventually claim his life, Niven continued making public appearances to raise awareness for the condition, using his trademark humor to put others at ease despite his own suffering. Even in difficult times, such as losing loved ones, Niven managed to retain his considerate demeanor, checking in on others' well-being instead of focusing solely on his own grief. His personal warmth endeared him to Hollywood and beyond. Debbie Reynolds. Debbie Reynolds brought an exuberant friendliness and down-to-earth sincerity to every set she stepped onto. Few knew that beneath Reynolds' sunny disposition lay the heartache of a difficult childhood in poverty and a series of devastating personal betrayals, including her famous abandonment by husband Eddie Fisher for Elizabeth Taylor. Despite these wounds, she chose to lead with kindness rather than bitterness. While she rose to fame at a young age, Reynolds never let stardom go to her head. Crew members recalled her offering to help carry costumes or props if someone seemed overwhelmed, and she never demanded special treatment. Instead, she'd share snacks, crack a joke, or burst into a cheerful tune between takes to keep spirits high. Her co-stars frequently praised her for being fun to work with, always encouraging rather than competitive. Reynolds' kindness extended well beyond film studios. When friend and actress Agnes Moorehead was facing a serious illness, Reynolds moved her into her own home to care for her personally during her final months, ensuring she wouldn't face her illness alone. She devoted much time to charitable causes, especially those benefiting children and the elderly. Reynolds founded the Thalians, a mental health charity that has raised over $30 million for the Mental Health Center at Cedars-Sinai. Her dedication to this cause stemmed from witnessing her own father's untreated depression and its impact on their family. For instance, she visited hospitals to entertain kids and brighten their days, sometimes performing impromptu musical numbers. She also took steps to preserve Hollywood history, founding a museum to save important costumes and memorabilia, ensuring future generations could appreciate the industry's legacy. Her determination to preserve film history led her to personally rescue thousands of costumes and props that studios were discarding, spending her own money to acquire items like Charlie Chaplin's bowler hat and Marilyn Monroe's white subway dress, which she saw not as investments, but as cultural treasures that belonged to the public. One real-life incident involved her comforting a young extra who had just been scolded by a higher-up. Reynolds took the extra aside, offered calm reassurance, and reminded them that everyone starts somewhere. When several of her Singin' in the Rain co-dancers fell ill with influenza during the grueling Good Morning sequence filming, Reynolds personally prepared soup and delivered it to their homes, then advocated to the director for schedule adjustments to allow their recovery. This empathetic approach solidified her status as one of Hollywood's most beloved stars. Olivia de Havilland. Olivia de Havilland projected a quiet strength and inherent courtesy that made her a beloved figure in Hollywood. What few realized was that her gracious public persona existed alongside immense private courage. She risked her entire career in a landmark legal battle against Warner Bros.' oppressive contract system, a fight that fundamentally changed labor laws in Hollywood and freed countless actors from studio servitude. Despite the professional danger, she persisted because, as she said, "I couldn't bear to see others suffer under the same injustice." Despite the pressures of the industry, especially for leading ladies of her era, she upheld high standards of conduct, both professionally and personally. While she engaged in notable legal battles to gain actor rights and free herself from unfair contracts, she remained courteous and dignified throughout the process. On set, co-stars and crew described her as attentive and patient. During filming of Gone with the Wind, when a black supporting actress was barred from attending the premiere in segregated Atlanta, de Havilland privately protested to the producers. Though unsuccessful, she maintained a lifelong friendship with the actress, Butterfly McQueen, frequently inviting her to her home at a time when such social integration was uncommon. If a fellow actor stumbled over lines, she would discreetly suggest a short break or a private rehearsal to alleviate their anxiety. A memorable example of her kindness occurred during the filming of The Snake Pit, a challenging drama about mental illness. De Havilland reportedly spent extra time conversing with actors playing patients, encouraging them to find empathy in their roles. To prepare for The Snake Pit, she volunteered incognito at a mental institution for several weeks, later using her influence to advocate for better conditions in psychiatric facilities after witnessing the mistreatment of patients. Off-screen, she maintained strong friendships, writing heartfelt letters and remembering birthdays. When fellow actress Vivien Leigh struggled with bipolar disorder, de Havilland remained a steadfast friend, visiting her during hospitalizations and managing her affairs during crises, a loyalty that continued until Leigh's passing in 1967. Although she was involved in a well-publicized feud with her sister Joan Fontaine, many who knew them personally stated that Olivia never allowed bitterness to overshadow her kindness toward others. Despite living in Paris for her later decades, she maintained correspondence with young film students and emerging actors who sought her advice, often sending thoughtful, multi-page handwritten responses well into her 90s. Her measured grace and considerate nature left a lasting impression on Hollywood's golden era. William Powell. William Powell's on-screen sophistication mirrored his real-life manners, though he never let sophistication turn into snobbery. Behind Powell's debonair image lay profound personal tragedy. His fiancée, actress Jean Harlow, passed away suddenly of kidney failure at age 26. Devastated, Powell established a $231,000 endowment at Children's Hospital in her memory, and though he later remarried, he maintained the endowment throughout his life, quietly adding to it annually. Cast and crew members recalled Powell's respectful, polite greetings each morning and his willingness to share anecdotes during long breaks, keeping morale high His approachability was evident when inexperienced extras gathered the courage to ask for advice. Powell would take a moment to offer gentle guidance or encouragement rather than dismissing them. He believed in acknowledging everyone's contribution, from the headliners to the set decorators. One well-known story involves Powell quietly intervening when an extra was nearly replaced because of nervousness. During the Depression, Powell learned that a studio carpenter was about to lose his home due to medical bills. Without announcement, Powell arranged to pay the family's mortgage and hospital expenses, insisting his name never be mentioned as the source. He took the individual aside, reassured them, and even ran through lines or blocking to boost their confidence. Powell's kindness wasn't loud or ostentatious. It was subtle and deeply felt. Outside the studio, he maintained strong friendships that endured for decades, and colleagues noted that Powell took time to attend their personal events, lend support when they faced hardships, and remain a stable presence in a tumultuous industry. When his Thin Man co-star, Myrna Loy, faced political blacklisting threats due to her progressive views, Powell publicly defended her at risk to his own career, declaring to studio executives, "If she goes, I go too." His stance effectively ended the threat against her. His behavior set a tone of mutual respect, proving that one could be a top leading man and still treat others with genuine compassion and courtesy. Jack Benny. While Jack Benny's primary fame came from his radio and television work, his ventures into Hollywood films were marked by the same warmth and friendliness he displayed on the airwaves. The contrast between Benny's stage persona as a penny-pinching miser and his real-life extraordinary generosity became legendary among those who knew him. After his passing, it was discovered that he had anonymously funded hospital wings, scholarships for underprivileged music students, and regular support for dozens of families, all without publicity or tax deductions. On set, Benny's good-natured humor made the workplace feel relaxed and inclusive. Rather than posture as a star, he teased himself as often as anyone else, encouraging a climate where laughter eased tense production schedules. Crew members admired his willingness to engage in friendly conversation with everyone, from camera operators to makeup artists. Actors who worked with him were often pleasantly surprised by Benny's genuine attentiveness. During World War II, while entertaining troops overseas, Benny learned that a young soldier had lost his treasured violin in combat. Benny, an accomplished violinist himself, promptly gave the soldier his own valuable instrument, saying simply, "I can get another one. You need this more than I do." He later established a foundation providing musical instruments to underprivileged children. He would ask about their families, congratulate them on recent successes, or gently reassure them if they felt insecure about a performance. Off camera, Benny supported numerous charities, including fundraising events for children's hospitals. When a young black violinist was denied entry to a prestigious conservatory due to segregation policies, Benny not only funded his private training, but used his considerable industry influence to arrange auditions and eventual employment with a major orchestra. He would perform free shows for troops overseas, brightening their spirits during difficult times. Friends recounted how, even at the height of his fame, he valued kindness and loyalty. Despite his immense wealth, Benny drove the same car for 20 years, explaining, "It's not what you have, but what you give that matters. Why buy new cars when that money could help someone in need?" When a colleague faced personal or professional difficulties, Benny would check in, sometimes offering a quiet loan or helpful connection. His consistent empathy, both public and private, made him a beloved figure in entertainment. Julie Andrews. Julie Andrews rose to prominence in the late 1950s and early 1960s, bridging Hollywood's classic and modern era. Behind Andrews' perfect image lay a challenging childhood, raised by an alcoholic mother and abusive stepfather who insisted she perform in dingy vaudeville halls from age 10 to support the family. These experiences gave her unusual compassion for child actors and a determination to protect them from exploitation. She quickly earned a reputation as one of the nicest individuals in show business. On film sets, Andrews treated everyone from legendary directors to production assistants as essential partners. During the grueling shoot of The Sound of Music, for example, she made a point of personally thanking the crew members at the end of long, cold days filming in the Austrian hills. While filming the iconic Hills Are Alive opening scene. Andrews had to be repeatedly dropped from a helicopter onto the mountainside, enduring bruised ribs and mud-soaked clothing. Despite her discomfort, she never complained and insisted on completing the physically demanding sequence rather than using a double, concerned that others would lose work if filming was extended. She encouraged child actors with friendly chats, helping them stay calm and focused despite the demands of production. Her warmth extended into her daily interactions. Andrews was known for sending handwritten notes of gratitude to collaborators and maintaining contact with those who had helped her along the way. After a botched throat surgery in 1997 permanently damaged her singing voice, ending her stage singing career, Andrews refused to become bitter. Instead, she focused on helping young performers with vocal health awareness, establishing scholarships for voice students, and funding research into vocal cord repair, transforming her personal tragedy into hope for others. She became an unofficial mentor to younger singers and actors, patiently listening to their concerns and offering constructive advice. Off the set, Andrews actively participated in charitable efforts, particularly those benefiting children's literacy and education. During her marriage to director Blake Edwards, the couple adopted 2 Vietnamese orphans from a Saigon orphanage at the height of the Vietnam War, when such international adoptions were rare. She later became a passionate advocate for adoption, saying, "Family isn't about blood. It's about who loves you and stands beside you." Meeting fans, she exhibited sincere attentiveness, frequently engaging in brief conversations rather than perfunctory greetings. When a young autograph seeker told Andrews she wanted to be an actress, but her parents couldn't afford lessons, Andrews arranged and privately paid for the girl's performing arts education, maintaining the relationship as a mentor for years without publicity. This combination of graciousness, humility, and generosity solidified Andrews' status as one of Hollywood's genuinely nice figures. Richard Chamberlain. Richard Chamberlain, widely recognized for his roles in classic television series like Dr. Kildare and The Thornbirds, has garnered admiration not only for his on-screen charisma, but also for his genuine kindness and compassion off-screen. What many didn't realize was that Chamberlain carried a heavy personal burden throughout much of his early career, living with a secret that could have destroyed his leading man status in less tolerant times. His experience of having to hide his true self for professional survival gave him extraordinary empathy for others facing discrimination or living with secrets. A compelling example of his benevolence comes from a personal account shared on Reddit, where Chamberlain demonstrated remarkable calmness and empathy during a potentially traumatic incident on the set of the Australian film The Last Wave. When a young caterer's daughter accidentally witnessed a dangerous electrical mishap that could have resulted in severe injury or worse, Chamberlain took immediate and thoughtful action. He gently comforted the distressed child, providing reassurance and a sense of safety till medical help arrived. His ability to remain composed under pressure and his instinct to care for those around him exemplifies his nurturing nature. Beyond this personal story, Chamberlain has been involved in various philanthropic efforts throughout his career. After spending time in Japan while filming Shogun in 1980, Chamberlain developed a deep connection to Eastern philosophies that transformed his approach to helping others. He began practicing meditation daily and quietly funding mindfulness programs for underprivileged youth, believing that inner peace was fundamental to creating outer harmony. He has supported numerous charitable organizations, particularly those focused on children's welfare and disaster relief. For instance, Chamberlain has participated in fundraisers and awareness campaigns, leveraging his public profile to benefit causes close to his heart. Following the devastating Indian Ocean tsunami of 2004, Chamberlain not only made substantial financial contributions, but spent several weeks volunteering with relief organizations in Thailand, working directly with displaced families while avoiding publicity for his efforts. Additionally, his colleagues and co-stars often speak highly of his approachable and friendly demeanor on set, noting his willingness to mentor younger actors and his respectful interactions with crew members. Internationally, Chamberlain's reputation for kindness extends to his engagements with fans and communities. Despite fame that followed him globally, Chamberlain maintained a practice of responding personally to fan mail from those facing serious illness or personal crises, often sending private video messages of encouragement that recipients described as life-changing. Whether interacting with fans at public events or participating in community outreach programs, he consistently demonstrates humility and a genuine interest in helping others. His enduring commitment to kindness and his ability to positively influence those around him have solidified his standing as one of Hollywood's genuinely nice and compassionate figures. Peter Finch. Peter Finch was truly one of the sweetest, kindest, and most approachable people to ever grace Hollywood. Behind Finch's warm presence lay a turbulent early life. Abandoned by his parents as an infant, he was raised by relatives who moved him constantly between countries, leaving him with an enduring empathy for those who felt like outsiders. Despite his towering talent and the intense characters he portrayed on screen, those who knew him personally often spoke about his gentle nature and genuine warmth. A Reddit user beautifully captured his essence, highlighting his self-deprecating sense of humor that made him incredibly relatable. Finch had this amazing ability to make everyone around him feel comfortable, whether you were a fellow actor, a crew member, or just a fan. One memorable story involves Finch on the set of Network. While filming his famous "I'm as mad as hell" scene in Network, which would posthumously win him an Oscar after his sudden heart attack at age 60, Finch insisted on personally thanking each crew member between exhausting takes, explaining, "Their job is harder than mine. I just have to act crazy. They have to make the crazy look real." Even amidst the chaos of filming, he would take time to chat with the crew, share a laugh, and ensure everyone felt valued. His humility was evident in how he never hesitated to help others, often going out of his way to support younger actors navigating the complexities of the industry. Despite his own struggles with alcohol and depression throughout his life, Finch became a quiet mentor to younger actors facing similar challenges, often inviting them to his home for honest conversations and support rather than the typical Hollywood partying. Off the screen, Finch was known for his thoughtful gestures, bringing homemade treats to set, or offering a listening ear to anyone in need. When a young Aboriginal actor was cast alongside him in an Australian production, but faced discrimination from some crew members, Finch publicly took his meals with the young man and insisted on equal treatment, using his star power to demand respect for his colleague. His kindness left a lasting impression on everyone he met, making him not just a brilliant actor, but also a beloved friend and colleague. Peter Finch's legacy is a testament to how true kindness and humility can shine brightly both in Hollywood and beyond. Ricardo Montalban. Ricardo Montalban embodied the true spirit of chivalry and kindness, earning him a reputation as one of Hollywood's most gracious gentlemen. What made Montalban's graciousness even more remarkable was that he achieved success despite facing constant discrimination in Hollywood, often limited to stereotypical Latin lover or exotic villain roles, and frequently paid less than his white co-stars. Rather than becoming bitter, these experiences fueled his determination to treat everyone with equal dignity. As a Reddit user aptly mentioned, Montalban was every inch the kind gentleman, often chivalrous to a fault. His courteous demeanor was evident both on and off the screen, where he consistently treated everyone with respect and warmth, whether interacting with fans or working alongside colleagues. Montalban's genuine kindness made him a favorite among many. One heartwarming anecdote involves Montalban during the filming of Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Throughout his career, Montalban maintained a deep religious faith that informed his kindness. He established the Nosotros Foundation in 1970 to improve opportunities for Hispanic actors and combat negative stereotyping, yet insisted the organization help all marginalized performers, regardless of ethnicity or background. Despite his busy schedule, he took time to mentor younger actors, sharing valuable insight and encouraging them to pursue their passions with dedication. His approachable nature meant that no one felt intimidated, fostering a positive and collaborative environment on set. When a serious back injury from a 1951 film stunt left him with chronic pain that would plague him for life, Montalban refused to let his physical suffering affect his interactions with others. Many who worked with him never realized he was often in considerable discomfort while filming, as he considered complaining an imposition on colleagues. Beyond his professional life, Montalban was actively involved in various charitable endeavors, often using his platform to support causes close to his heart, such as education and health care for underprivileged communities. His 63-year marriage to Georgiana Young, until her passing in 2007, was considered one of Hollywood's most devoted unions. He once explained their lasting bond by saying, "The same courtesy and thoughtfulness one shows to strangers should be magnified at home. Why treat those we love any less graciously than those we hardly know?" His selfless actions and unwavering kindness left an indelible mark on those who had the privilege of working with him. James Garner. James Garner embodied the rare combination of rugged masculinity and genuine compassion that defined his generation's best actors. Garner's kindness was shaped by a traumatic childhood. His mother passed away when he was just 4 years old, and his father, unable to cope, split up the children. Garner was reunited with his family when his father remarried, but his stepmother, Red, subjected him to physical and psychological abuse, including forcing him to wear a dress and be called Louise as punishment. This early cruelty gave him a lifelong empathy for the vulnerable and a fierce protective instinct. Despite his towering physical presence and leading man status, colleagues consistently described him as one of Hollywood's most humble and approachable stars. On every set, from Maverick to the Rockford Files, Garner made a point of learning everyone's name, from fellow actors to the lowest-ranking crew members, and would often be found sharing lunch with electricians and grips rather than retreating to his trailer. Garner's kindness extended far beyond the film industry. When filming The Great Escape, Garner stood up to co-star Charles Bronson, who was bullying a young actor over a card game incident. Despite Bronson's intimidating reputation, Garner insisted the young man be treated fairly, demonstrating his willingness to risk personal conflict to protect others. His civil rights activism was deeply personal. In 1963, despite FBI warnings that participating celebrities would not be protected, Garner proudly marched alongside Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in the historic March on Washington. Unlike some stars who merely paid lip service to equality, Garner consistently used his industry power to break barriers, demanding integrated accommodations when filming on location in the segregated South, and refusing roles that perpetuated racial stereotypes. His compassion also extended to animals throughout his life, beginning with rescuing a stray companion named Ginger. During his impoverished Oklahoma childhood, Garner was rarely without an animal companion. His daughter, Gigi, later established the James Garner Animal Rescue Fund in his honor, continuing his lifelong commitment to animal welfare. Garner's dedication to his craft often came at great personal cost. During his years on the Rockford Files, Garner performed his own stunts despite suffering numerous injuries, including damaged knees and a bad back that would trouble him for the rest of his life. Yet between painful takes, he would still find energy to encourage young actors or thank crew members. Despite fame and success, he maintained a remarkably grounded 58-year marriage to his wife Lois, whom he married just 14 days after meeting her at a political rally in 1956. He once explained their lasting bond by saying, "I was just nuts about her, and still am. We were meant to be together from the first day we met. I knew it, and she knew it." This combination of personal integrity, professional excellence, and genuine warmth made James Garner not just a beloved actor, but a true example of kindness in an often unkind industry. John Gielgud. John Gielgud was often seen as the epitome of British theatrical excellence, refined, disciplined, and sometimes perceived as stern or aloof. This formal exterior masked a man who had endured significant personal hardship. In 1953, Gielgud was arrested in a public restroom for homosexual solicitation, when such acts were criminalized in Britain. The resulting scandal threatened to destroy his career, but rather than becoming bitter, the experience deepened his compassion for others facing persecution and judgment. However, those who knew him personally discovered a deeply kind and approachable individual. I remember, when I was just 15 years old, meeting him felt like an intimidating experience. Contrary to his poised reputation, Gielgud took time to sit down with me and chat for hours. He listened intently, shared stories from his illustrious career, and offered thoughtful advice without ever making me feel out of place. His genuine interest and warm demeanor left a lasting impression, showing that beneath his sophisticated exterior was a man who truly cared about others. Beyond personal encounters, Gielgud was known for his generosity within the acting community. After the public humiliation of his arrest, many colleagues expected Gielgud to cancel his upcoming theatrical appearance. Instead, he courageously took the stage to what began as uncomfortable silence until one audience member began applauding, followed by a standing ovation. This experience transformed him, and he later secretly funded legal defense for other men facing similar charges. He often mentored young actors, patiently guiding them through their craft and encouraging their growth. Colleagues frequently spoke about his willingness to lend a hand, whether it was helping with lines during rehearsals or offering support during challenging times. When a struggling young actor confessed he couldn't afford proper formal attire for auditions, Gielgud not only gave him several of his own bespoke suits, but arranged a meeting with his personal tailor for alterations, explaining, "Presentation matters, but talent matters more. You have the latter. Let me help with the former." Internationally, his reputation for kindness extended to his interactions with fans and fellow artists alike. Whether attending charity events or participating in community theater projects, Gielgud consistently demonstrated humility and compassion. In his later years, despite his own declining health, Gielgud regularly visited former colleagues in retirement homes, often reading Shakespeare aloud to those with failing eyesight, bringing the magic of theater to those who could no longer attend performances. His legacy is not only one of artistic brilliance, but also of a man whose kindness and approachability made him beloved by many around the world. Jimmy Durante. Jimmy Durante's distinctive gravelly voice, comic malapropisms, and oversized nose made him instantly recognizable to audiences, but those who knew him personally were far more impressed by the size of his heart. Durante's sensitivity to others' feelings stemmed from painful childhood experiences. Bullied mercilessly for his distinctive appearance, he later recalled, "I'd go home from school and cry. I made up my mind never to hurt anybody else, no matter what." This early resolution shaped his entire approach to comedy and life. Despite achieving stardom in vaudeville, radio, film, and television, Durante maintained a remarkable humility throughout his career, often deflecting praise and sharing credit with others. On set, he was known for treating everyone, from stars to stagehands, with the same warm, respectful demeanor, creating a family atmosphere wherever he worked. Durante's kindness extended far beyond professional courtesy. In 1940, Durante established the Jimmy Durante Children's Fund through the Fraternal Order of Eagles, which has since raised over $20 million to support programs for abused and neglected children. His devotion to children's causes was deeply personal. Unable to have biological children until late in life, when he and his wife adopted a daughter, Durante channeled his paternal instincts into helping children in need. He frequently volunteered at hospitals and orphanages without publicity, spending hours entertaining sick children with personalized routines. During a tour in North Carolina, Durante stopped at a small roadside diner in Calabash when he had no money. The owner not only fed him, but treated him with exceptional kindness. Years later, when Durante achieved fame, he immortalized this act of kindness with his famous sign-off line, "Good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are," a phrase that remained a mystery to most viewers, but was his way of thanking someone who'd shown him kindness when he needed it most. His compassion often extended to helping struggling performers. When a young comedian was booed off stage during a show where Durante was the headliner, Durante invited him back to perform during his own set, standing beside him and encouraging the audience to give the newcomer another chance. The young performer later revealed this act of kindness saved his career, and possibly his life, as he'd been contemplating ending his life after the initial rejection. During World War II, Durante exhausted himself performing countless shows for troops, and unlike some stars who limited their appearances to large bases, he insisted on visiting remote outposts where entertainment was rare. Despite suffering from several painful health conditions in his later years, including arthritis that made his trademark physical comedy increasingly difficult, Durante refused to cancel charity performances, explaining simply, "Da kids is waitin'." When asked why he pushed himself so hard, he replied in his characteristic broken English, "Da smile of a kid is worth all da pain in da world." His genuine warmth and extraordinary generosity made Jimmy Durante not just a beloved entertainer, but a true exemplar of kindness in action. Now you understand that what the media tells you about a person isn't always accurate. It's always best to understand a personality through personal and public experiences. This is where we find most of these actors to be genuinely kind, rather than difficult or unkind, as sometimes portrayed by the media. What other actors do you think should be included on this list? We may have missed many, and if we did, please comment with their names below. Before you go, I have a question for you. Which of these stories surprised you the most? Was it learning about James Stewart's heroic war service? Or maybe discovering the painful childhood that shaped Jimmy Durante's incredible kindness? Drop a comment below and let me know. And hey, if you enjoyed taking this peek behind the golden curtain of Hollywood, subscribe for more untold stories from Tinseltown's most fascinating era. There's always more to discover about our favorite stars.